All right, so today I want to talk about and give you guys caveman diet food list. I want to talk about the ancestral diet. I call it the ancestral diet. I eat as ancestrally as I can, and later in the video I will explain the evolution and why this is one of the best diets, if not the best diet, and why there is a core diet of this diet, and why it's similar to paleo and kind of similar to keto diet as well, and paleo diet. So the caveman diet, what did the cavemen eat? All right, so later I will explain why we're physically basically the same and so forth. All right, so the caveman food list. You should eat as ancestral as possible. This means whole foods, this means raw foods, this means organic and as free roaming as you can when it comes to your meat, eggs, even milk, your dairy. If you can find raw milk, try to find raw milk. Otherwise, don't drink highly pasteurized milk, because this has none of the nutrients left in it. You gotta eat as nutritiously dense as possible. That is what ancestral diet means essentially, and energy dense foods. That's why eggs, fish, and so forth are packed with nutrients and fat soluble vitamins and so forth. All right, everything your body needs is within these foods. All right, so what you do is you ignore all prepackaged foods. You eat raw foods, whole foods. All right, you ignore when you're in the store, you ignore all packaged foods. These contain all sorts of added stuff that your body doesn't want, doesn't need, and so forth. All right, you eat as clean as possible and whole fruits, and so forth. So the list will be basically, all right, so I'll make some generalized stuff, but you will understand the gist of everything, and you can make your own choices based on these general principles. And I will also explain how I eat. All right, so basically this is how I eat. So you have a piece of fish, all right, because you need your omega-3. You need your omega-3 ratio 1:1. That's how our ancestors ate. That's how cavemen ate. All right, or perhaps sometimes 2:1. So more fish. You need to eat more fish. You avoid all vegetable oils. If you need oil, you eat olive oil, because olives are a fruit. All right, you ignore everything that's artificial, such as MCT oil. I wouldn't suggest coconut oil either. So this is like a strict paleo diet. All right, strict paleo meal. So you have some piece of fish. All right, you need some piece of fish. You need fish from clean waters, such as Iceland and so forth, or some salmon. Avoid farmed fish. These contain too much toxicity. You have some piece of seafood. You can do like 200 grams, whatever you want to. And then you have some piece of meat. You can try lamb meat. Get lamb meat from New Zealand. New Zealand food is great. All right, these animals have been raised naturally without any antibiotics and so forth. All right, so you avoid animal foods with antibiotics. You research where you get your stuff. Okay, or go to your local market and your local farmers to get the best quality food you can get. All right, this is how you eat ancestrally. And you avoid regional stuff. So that's why it's different from paleo. You avoid, for example, potatoes. Unless you're South American, I would suggest you could perhaps eat more potatoes, and sweet potatoes rather. All right, but paleo is always emphasizing sweet potatoes, but we don't here. We avoid carbs in the ancestral diet. We keep it to a limit here, and we eat seasonally. If you eat honey, you eat honey raw, and you eat it seasonally. When it comes to meat, you can eat horse meat, you can eat whatever meat you want, as long as it's properly raised, free roaming, and so forth. You don't even have to eat meat, but then you gotta eat more fish, and you gotta balance your omega-3, because you shouldn't outbalance omega-3 either. You need a balance with omega-3 and omega-6. So then you need to eat some eggs. Eggs are packed with vitamins, minerals, and so forth. You could basically survive on eggs as well, at least if they're properly raised, and so forth. You have some piece of meat, you have some fish, you can have some algae. All right, algae has a lot of iodine. Do that. All right, so, but not too much. All right, now you will get gassy from seaweed and so forth, but you can avoid it. You don't have to eat it every day, but you can have a piece of fish every day, some piece of meat every day, some eggs every day, or every other day if you don't want to have eggs every day. And you can get gassy from the sulfur from eggs as well, but from meat you don't get gassy. You can try the carnivore diet where you only eat meat, and you'll see that you never, you know, get gassy. But you got to make sure you eat a lot of salt, at least in the beginning, or a lot of fat until you've adapted. All right, especially if you go carnivore, right? So, but with this diet as well, you might feel some heartbeats and stuff like that, but you will get over it. You will adapt. You can eat some more fruit, especially in the beginning. Eat more cucumbers and vegetables, like usually people say vegetables, but cucumbers and tomatoes and so forth, they are savory fruits. So our ancestors ate savory fruits, they ate fruits. All right, so we don't avoid fruits here in the ancestral diet, in the ancestral land, especially the core, but we eat as ancestral as possible. This means we try to eat berries. All right, they're packed with minerals, they're packed with everything we need, so elderberries, strawberries, everything. All right, you can, whatever berries you can find, those are great. They're not too sweet, and they're great in combination with meat and so forth. And so you can also eat some carrots. These two, you will notice some ancestral stuff. All right, you will get closer to your ancestors, as I say. You will get closer to your instincts. You eat only carrots with meat and perhaps some fruit, a little bit of berries and fruit. You will notice that this works so well, so great with meat, all right, and fish as well. So, especially when you combine all these things. Now, dairy is not necessary. If you want to, you can eat dairy. You will get your calcium from meat and fish and so forth. All right, you don't have to worry about calcium. You get calcium from eggs as well. All right, so that's the animal-based. The plant-based, like I said, savory fruits, cucumbers, bell peppers. You can get some yellow bell peppers to get your vitamin C, but you can eat liver. All right, so organ meats. I took this last, but this is perhaps the most important. You got to eat organ meats. You can eat liver. You can get your vitamin C from liver and organ meats as well, actually. But the thing is, you got to slowly cook it, otherwise it will go away. You'll cook it away, or you eat it raw, but you got to have high quality liver to eat it raw, otherwise it will taste terrible. You can eat it, but it will taste terrible, and it might not be that good actually for you because of all the antibiotics and so forth. So try to eat as clean as possible, like I said. All right, so you got to have organ meats as well, but don't eat too much of liver. It has a lot of iron in it, but the body will of course get rid of stuff it doesn't need and so forth. Especially if you're healthy, then it will work. All right, but if you have some problems, avoid some liver, but you can eat kidney and heart and so forth. Heart is such a delicious meat. All right, it is a muscle, so it is technically meat. It is delicious. Try some chicken heart. All right, so carrots, so you get some true roots as well. You can get some carrots, for example, turnips. You can get some lesser sweet true roots. I call them true roots because they are true roots. Botanically speaking, potatoes are not true roots. Our ancestors would have eaten true roots. All right, so let's get to our ancestors. Our ancestors would have eaten mostly meat. You know why? Because when we talk about cavemen, but also before that, but cavemen, this is only like 200,000 years ago. All right, now we had interglacial. We're currently actually in an ice age. All right, actually delayed the ice age because of pollution and so forth. Now, because we're actually within an ice age right now. But our ancestors went in and out of these interglacial periods, all right? They had some ice age periods, but so imagine our ancestors being in this ice age. Now, of course, it's different depending on where you are, but imagine that our ancestors were in these, you know, deep ice ages, and there is not much to eat except mammoths, like the Neanderthals. They were experts in mammoths and big game, like, or megafauna game, actually. So we killed all the mammoths and so forth. I mean, what did we do with the mammoths? We didn't watch the mammoth. We didn't watch it. We ate it, all right? We ate every part of it. They ate the eyes, the brain, the liver, of course, the kidneys. They ate everything. Perhaps they even saved the skeleton from the animal, using it for art or tools and so forth, all right? So it's not like they didn't use any of it. And also they were probably pretty spiritual, because we see these cave paintings, all right? Imagine like walking towards these huge animals, and you know, you gotta realize that there is a reason why they painted them, all right? They were important to them, all right? They felt connected to them and so forth, because they gave them life, they gave them energy, they gave them stuff to do, all right? They gave them their purpose, all right? That was their purpose, and the purpose to continue the human species, all right? That's why we are here. A lot of us in the modern era have forgotten that the deepest purpose is to continue the human condition, the human species, all right? That's the most underlying reason why we do everything, all right? That's the most underlying reason. It's not the only reason, because we're much more complicated than that. So you gotta understand that our ancestors, our distant ancestors, they evolved to eat meat, all right? They started to evolve to eat meat instead of plants and fruits and so forth. You can see how the inner physiology of humans, and also the pH value of our gut stomach, our gut acid, the pH level is low, exactly like carnivorous animals. But of course, I mean, we still have the body still has a way to convert all this stuff into glycogen, of course. So it has fat and glycogen. Those are the two fuel sources for the body. We are adaptive. We are very adaptive. That's why we're the greatest human, or the greatest species on Earth. That's why we created civilizations and so forth, all right? So this is very important. So why not eat like our ancestors, the very core of who we are? Why not go there and just rid of ourselves of inflammation and all this stuff, all right? You rid yourself of inflammation because there is so much nutrition in liver and meat and so forth, especially if it's high quality, that your body doesn't want other stuff, it doesn't need other stuff. And also you have more time for other stuff, all right? You have more time for purpose, you have more time for your purpose work, your work, your passion. You have more time if you eat properly, all right? If you only eat vegetables all the time, like all day, that's the only thing you will do and accomplish nothing, all right? We need this food to just continue our lives, all right? It is a sacrifice we have to take. It's simple as that. Our purpose is much more important, all right? It's simple as that. We can't get around this, all right? That's the truth. We're animals as well. So if you want to be ethical, you got to take care of the body first. Otherwise, how are you supposed to help others, all right? So we go from the core and outwards. You see, even the diet goes from the core and then outwards. For example, some people like in South America, perhaps they evolved later on, you know, as the ice age, you know, it melted and so forth. These people started to find other ways to find nutrition, and so they started to eat and cultivate more, you know, potatoes and so forth. So South Americans evolved this. But in Middle East, for example, and Southern Europe and so forth, they evolved to eat more grain more quickly, like 10,000 years ago when civilization started, all right? That's our oldest evidence for civilization, in Jericho, 10,000 years ago. approximately. It depends on where you are, all right? So rice and so forth, and in China as well. So if you're Chinese, perhaps your body can tolerate rice more and so forth, all right? But not if you're Northern European. Northern Europeans can tolerate dairy more, all right? Because that's what they had to, you know, the gene expressions change through time and region and whatever time was within that region and so forth, all right? That's what you gotta realize as well. We can't deny this. And that's why there are so many diets and so forth. That's why I believe in my diet. I will teach this in my course, in the first foundation course. I will release this soon. I will finish this soon, and I will release it, all the videos and everything. I will teach you how to get to your core ancestral diet, to the very core, and then if you need to, you will expand and extend the core diet, all right? And I will teach you everything you need there, but I gave you basically everything you can start with. I mean, I basically gave you the whole thing here. You gotta understand that our ancestors ate and could only eat basically meat and so forth for 10,000s of years. So you got to realize that what that does to the body and evolution, all right? That's why we evolved to eat more and more meat, and then, you know, whenever we could find, now we have evidence that there is, of course, evidence that they ate some grain and grass and so forth, but you got to realize even the tigers eat some grass sometimes to keep the acid low, or to balance their acidity in their guts. And you got to realize that also that they had more time, you know, to develop civilization. Otherwise, how else would they develop civilization? Now, of course, civilization started with grains as well, but that's how we could, you know, you could feed many people, you know, within a civilization. That was necessary for that. Obviously, it was, but so perhaps not all of us can eat like this, but like I've said before, we're individuals here. We're in the world of individuals. We don't care about everyone. We care about the few, the great, all right, and so forth. Yes, it is elitistic, but I don't care. We're elitist. We're the best, all right? We're just the best, and that's why. All right, so they had to develop this for meat and so forth. And that's why, and this is my theory, this is why bioavailability from animal foods are like 100% all the time, while when you check, you know, carrots and spinach and stuff like that, you gotta cook them. And even when you do that, they're not even 100% bioavailable, all right? So the body, this means that the body can't absorb all the nutrients, all right? While when you eat meat, it absorbs all the nutrients it needs, and then of course the body gets rid of the rest it doesn't need, obviously. So these are the reasons why, all right? So that's how I eat, all right? I eat some piece of fish. I eat some eggs. I eat some meat, like lamb, for example. I love lamb. And then I eat some carrots. I eat some fruits. I ate some blueberries yesterday, for example. You can eat bananas and you can eat all these fruits that are actually exotic, but you got to realize that don't eat too much of them because it should be seasonal, all right? So sometimes you gotta, you know, when we fast, we counterbalance all this stuff. So you gotta fast, you gotta implement fasting, but you can watch my other videos on fasting. I will make more videos about fasting and so forth. I will also teach it in my first foundation course as well. It will come soon. I'm working on it. It will come very soon. I will teach you all this stuff. I will teach you diet, sleep, exercise, meditation, and so forth. Everything you need to get better and so forth. But if you need personal consultations, you can contact me. The email is down below. If you have any issues with diet and sleep and exercise and meditation, but if you also, you know, all this stuff like addictions and so forth, and depression, or, you know, some other psychological issues, you can contact me. You can email me if you have any questions. You can comment down below. You can share, like, subscribe, and share in real life as well, because that's much more important. We want to be in real life, not in this simulation all the time. And keep on working on yourself, focus only on yourself, and everything will be great, everything will be fine, and see you guys and girls, see you tomorrow.